shift the way you lead, the way you live. Clarity, courage, change. Because your next level won't wait. This is Monday Mindshift. The clarity you've been craving. The shift you didn't know you needed. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Glad to have you here on another wonderful, marvelous Monday from Monday Mindshift. And today's topic was inspired from the question or from the suggestions I received last week on ideas of what you guys wanted to see covered. And let me just get my light going here. Or maybe not. Okay, maybe not. Maybe my light has died. I don't know. Let's see. Anyway, so it's about leading yourself first this week, right? Lead yourself or risk burning everybody else out or burning yourself out. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to get burned out. And I see some people have joined. Calm has commented. Derek and Christy, welcome. Thank you for joining. Hope everything's good wherever you are. I see Christy's down in sunny Florida. It's a beautiful day in Guatemala. Low 70s, nice breeze, and it's dry season, so we love it because rainy season, it's so wet here that your clothes don't dry. You go out and you pray that it doesn't rain while you're out because the streets can flood in minutes. And I'm not talking a little bit, I'm talking, several inches of water on the streets. So it can be a big problem. Anyway, so to start, most leaders, they burn out not because others ask too much, but rather because they expect themselves to need nothing. Right? How many leaders, maybe you knew someone who thought they were an island, right? They don't need anything. I don't need support. I got this. I can control this ship. And Meryl, glad to see you here. Yes, over up in New Jersey, where I'm sure it's a little bit cooler lately. And I'm praying the Mercury, Venus, whatever retrogrades going on that's been causing live streams on LinkedIn to have problems. So far, so good. Fingers crossed, right? The challenge is that leadership really, in many ways, has become a role that people perform instead of a rhythm you live from. And this next thing I'm going to share, people listening, it might sting a little. But here it is. If you don't lead yourself first, you will lead everyone else straight into your burnout. Right? I love John Maxwell, and he said, a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. And here's the thing. When someone's leading, when we're following a leader, we want the leader that will take us into a better future, right? A goal achieved, a vision accomplished. But if the leader is not leading themselves, if the leader is performing rather than, embodying leadership, they'll drive us right off the cliff with them, right? The truth is, you can't show the way if you don't stop and check your map, right? If you don't find your way, how can you expect to lead others on the path? Right? So today's topic is all about self-leadership. And unfortunately, this is something that a lot of people skip because there's no applause in self-leadership. But what I will say is that self-leadership is the foundation required to prevent collapse, right? All right. So this is the diagnostic. Where are the leaks? There are three places where leaders leak energy, and often they don't even realize it. The first is energy leaks. So many leaders lead from pure adrenaline. You think you're on, but the truth is it's fight or flight mode. You appear productive, but they're not present. They're effective. Maybe the company is succeeding, the business is doing great, but they're not living. They're not alive. They're like a hollow shell. The second is boundary leaks. This is when people are leading from obligation. You say yes before you even know how you feel about something. You rescue, you fix things, you hold on to things. And that becomes a default identity. The person says, I'm the dependable one. You can always count on me. The third area that leaders leak, decision leaks. This is when the leader is exhausted, but they're still trying to lead. Because when we're operating in exhaustion, we're reacting, right? We're just kind of putting out fires all the time. And in this mode, when you're exhausted, you're spent, you're burning out, decisions don't come from clarity. They come from panic, from fear, or just habits, right? Like that's the way, it's a decision we've always made. I heard this from Parker Palmer. We teach who we are. And I would say we lead who we are. So if we're leading from depletion, people will feel it. They will feel it way before we're willing to admit it. Every leader has leaks, right? They're leaking from somewhere. So the question to ask yourself, where am I leaking most? So when did this start? Right? What's the origin story? When did you become the responsible one? Right? And this applies even if you're not in a leadership role at your job or in your business. If you're a parent or something else, you're leading, right? Leadership is something anybody can embrace. It's not about your title on your door or on your cubicle. It's about what's inside. So I want to zoom out. If you can, close your eyes for a moment. If you can't, come back and watch the replay and go through this. But think back to the moment, the exact scene when you took on that identity of being the responsible one, the strong one, the fixer, that emotional anchor in your family, maybe. The person who held everything together, waiting for someone to hold you. Who taught you that good means to be small? Who taught you that your needs were negotiable, but others' needs were urgent? Who taught you that silence was strength and exhaustion was a badge to wear? You see, we carry childhood survival strategies into adult leadership roles or into adulthood. And then we sit there and wonder, why does everything feel unbearable? Why does everything feel so heavy? Why am I always exhausted? This brings us into self-care, right? Taking care of yourself is not, William, welcome. Michael, you can't work. I bet you can. Just haven't found your magic yet. Leadership is it's not born, it's built. But anyway, caring for ourselves, William, welcome. Caring for ourselves is not self-indulgent. It's self-preservation, right? It's the old put your mask on first. And in leadership, it's not selfish, it's stewardship. If you're burnt out, who's going to lead? Right? You got to take care of you. You can't fill from an empty cup, right? All right. Meryl, this is for you. Science time. I'm here to say why burnout is not simply just exhaustion. It's actually identity collapse. It's not about being tired. It's about being disconnected from our true self. Right? When you're not connected to your reality, to your true self, that's you're on the road to burnout. Neuroscience has shown this because our brain rewires around stress and adrenaline becomes normal. And when that's true, creativity, intuition, wisdom, powered down. Polyvagal theory, which is about our nervous system and the way we connect, right, says hyperfunctioning, in other words, you're dry, go, 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 right? We often wear that as, he's driven, he's ambitious, and those are good things, but we have to check. Is it good? Is it positive? Liana, welcome, and Leslie, welcome. Is your ambition, is your drive and passion aligned with your true values, yourself? Or are you in sympathetic overdrive? Right? Are you numbing with social media or other things? Because that shows that you've gone into shutdown mode. So either hyperfunction or shutdown mode. These are survival mechanisms, not good leadership. And then there's decision fatigue. A tired brain, tired mind even, I could say, Leslie, if it's not got the right energy flow or it's exhausted, it will default to old patterns. That's why we see leaders making the same mistakes over and over and over, even though intellectually, they know it's a mistake, but we see people making the mistake again and again and again. Viktor Frankl said it great. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Leadership isn't about controlling the storm outside. It's not about controlling, putting out fires outside. It's about regulating the storm and the fire right here. That one, it's inside of us. So what do we do? What can we navigate around this? How do we move forward? My first practice today is called the leadership check-in. Ask yourself, silently even, What am I carrying today that isn't mine? Right? A lot of times we're carrying things that aren't ours, but we carry them. The next question: where am I over functioning? Where could I back it off a little bit? Or am I doing too much? What part of me is exhausted but does the, oh, I'm fine, right? Have we seen that in people where you can see that they're tired, they're exhausted, but you ask how they are? I'm fine. And finally, what would change if I led from my center instead of conditioning? I want you to sit with these questions. Take time, don't rush, just let the answers rise up, right? Kennedy said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country." Howard Thurman said, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive." Because when you're alive, especially as a leader, you can do more good than someone who is compliant. Lisa, welcome, welcome, welcome. Absolutely, William. Self care is a strategy, not self indulgent. So here's a picture for you. Imagine a captain steering his ship in the storm. The waves are crashing over the bow. The crew is panicked, and lightning is flashing across the sky. The captain's yelling orders to all the crew: do this, moving ropes, adjusting the sails, hold fast to the helm. But he neglects to check his own compass. He's leading, but he's blind. You see, the quality of everything we do depends on the quality of thinking that we first do. Tired leaders aren't thinking, as I said before, they're reacting. Your nervous system, your intuition, those are your compass. Are you checking it? Because if you're not leading, you're surviving. The second practice, the famous two-chair dialogue, right? Today, our chairs are driver and leader. Think of it this way: inside you are two voices. The driver says, I have to keep going. If I slow down, everything will fall apart. The leader says, I can lead better when I'm centered. Clarity, not a luxury, it's responsibility. And give each voice a moment to speak internally. And just notice who's running the show lately, right? We don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. And I want to tell you, that's from James Clear, that your nervous system is your first system to check before to learn when learning to lead. Zakia, welcome. Thank you for joining. Oh, Jay, I only got part of your message. Sometimes I said if I were to lead a whole team, it would definitely consist of more responsibilities. Sometimes that can. So, Jay, please share the rest of that. Like, whatever reason it got cut off. And I feel like I'm missing part of what you had to share. So I want to hear that, please. So now I've given you two practice, right? The leadership check-in, you ask yourself the questions. What am I carrying that's not mine? Where am I over functioning? What part of me is exhausted but pretending it's fine? And what would change if I led from my center instead of the conditioning? And the second practice was the driver and the leader, right? Which one is at the helm of your life? And again, as usual, we're not trying to get rid of the driver. We thank it, we show it gratitude, and we let the leader take over. So moving on to practice number 3. One leadership boundary. I want to tell you that self-leadership begins with one non-negotiable. And that is, Sharon, welcome. Thank you for joining. Here it is. What is the one line I will no longer cross against myself? Examples could be, I don't make decisions when I'm exhausted. Or, I protect white space on my calendar. Or, I give myself permission before giving others answers. And finally, I honor my emotional check-ins daily. These are some examples you could use or make your own, right? What's the line you won't cross against yourself? What's your limit? What's your boundary to protect your inner world, to protect you, to exercise that self-leadership, right? What is the boundary that keeps you from burnout, centered, aligned, and able to make decisions from your center instead of reacting? I love Brene Brown. She talks a lot about boundaries, vulnerability, etc. I love the way she says this, that she says, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves, right? Because at the core, that's what boundaries are about. They're about loving yourself. They're about honoring yourself. They're about protecting your energy, your space. And the truth is, a leader without boundaries, that's a liability to themselves and to anyone they lead. Right? And as I said, as a father, this hits home. As a husband, this hits home. As a thought leader, per se, it hits home. In my work developing a new leadership program that I'm working on and a book that's going to go with it, this hits home, right? To have my boundaries and hold them. What is the line I won't cross against myself, right? All boundaries are important and valuable, especially those boundaries with yourself, right? Like Sharon says, starting with gratitude, your morning moving meditation. This is honoring yourself. Some space, some downtime, the power of the pause, stepping back, stepping out of the spotlight for a minute and saying, okay, what is this? Am I on the right path? Am I honoring my values? Am I aligned with my mission, my vision, my purpose? Or am I a robot? I think of my wife was just sharing, it's a funny video that we saw. I'm pretty sure it's AI created, but it's an army of Tesla's new robots marching through the streets. And if you just watch it, on the surface, it just looks like a bunch of robots all marching together. But if you watch closely, you see the robots. Like one is he's walking like this. He's not marching. He's shuffling. His feet are acting weird. And instantly, that song came in my head as I was watching. Every day I'm shuffling. Right. So, are you the robot that's just marching down the street, or are you the robot that's shuffling because that's aligned with you? Right. Be you, be true to you, wherever you are, in every aspect, right? Love yourself. Demonstrate that love to yourself. Don't just say, I love myself. It's easy to look in the mirror and say, I love myself. But are you demonstrating it? Right? If you said you loved your parents, you loved your child, you loved your spouse or whoever, you would do things to show that you love them. Why not to yourself? All right. So once again, I'm way too fast. So I'd love any questions. A jumper. Where external circumstances, yeah. Are you letting the outside dictate your inner world? Or are you working from the inside out? That's where peace comes from. That's where joy and fulfillment comes from, is when you're aligned with your inner world. Your inner world is at peace, the outer world aligns. Right? We've talked about it before. If we're judging, that's a mirror, right? If we're judging, look inside. What is it that I don't accept about myself? What is it that I desire to change? And then what's the micro change I can make to start on that path? Right? We're not talking about making major changes on day one. Just like a baby, one step at a time. And if you fall down, get back up and do it again. Take a micro action and take it again tomorrow, and take it again tomorrow, and take it again, and add to it, and add to it, and add to it. And before you know it, you'll have this momentum. So here's my commitment that I'm asking from you today. Reflect on these two questions, and I will put these in the chat because these are the power questions today. The part of me I've been leading from. And as I said, this is not dependent on you having a leadership title or a leadership role in your career or business. This is human, right? You're leading. You have to lead yourself to be a solopreneur, to be an employee, no matter what level you are. You've got to lead yourself. Why isn't this 60 minutes? Because I talk too fast, Sharon. I get excited and I have my content written, my ideas. And then next thing I know, I've 30 minutes in and I've covered everything I had on my notes. But yes, absolutely, Sharon. Our judgments, our triggers they're signals. They're letting us know there's some part of us, some shadow side, some part of us that we haven't embraced, that we haven't worked through. So we can let it trigger us and put us into reaction mode, or we can stop, step back and go, okay, what is that trying to show me? What is it that I need to learn from this? Where is it that I need to evaluate, right? And I often say, name it to tame it. The sheer fact of naming something automatically reduces its power, whether it's a fear or a judgment against yourself that's exhibiting as a judgment against others. Yeah, exactly, Sharon. Lead yourself, be a better human. It's pretty simple. But that's the human thing, right? We tend to overcomplicate things. So your 2 reflection questions, your commitment. The part of me I've been leading from is. Take time on that. Think about it. Give it time to rise. Don't rush it. Don't force it. Ask yourself, and then let it, like a good cup of tea, let it steep. Right? Let it take time. A good cup of coffee, a good wine, a good cup of tea, they all take time. So do your best answers. They take time. So give them the time and the space they need. The second question for reflection, the part of me I'm ready to lead with is. So we're acknowledging where I've been leading from, so we can name it, we can let it go, we can acknowledge it. Thank you. You served your purpose. But now the part of me I'm ready to lead with is. Christy, that's a power move. A lot of people, I've been there, right? We feel like, I don't want to burden people with my trouble, so I'll just say I'm fine. And then there's another factor too. When people ask us, the question comes up, are they asking because they actually want to know? Or is it just automatic habit, right? How many times do we just say, hi, how are you? It's automatic, right? Like, ask yourself, are you actually asking because you want to know? Or is it like, do you really care? Okay. I said this earlier. I'm going to reiterate it because somebody way smarter than me said it. Maya Angelou said it as well. You can't pour from an empty cup. And I would add, and you shouldn't try. Because the people you lead don't need your hustle. They need your clarity. Your kids, your teammates, maybe you are in an actual leadership position. They don't need your hustle. They don't need the performance, the proving. They need your clarity, your vision, right? As John Maxwell said, right? Knows the way, goes the way, shows the way. Because that person looks at their compass and has an idea where they want to go. And if it doesn't go that way, maybe we made a wrong turn, which comes to mind the old Bugs Bunny commercial. I think we made a wrong turn in Albuquerque. Wrong turns are okay. Sometimes you got to back up, or you've got to turn around and go back and retry again, right? Whether it's traveling to a new location or navigating through life. Okay, great question, Sharon. I find the simplest way is I don't vomit because I don't want to emotionally vomit on anybody. I might say something simple like, yeah, things aren't so well. Things aren't great. That leaves it on them. If they want to know more, they can ask more. If they don't ask, that's it. I leave it right there. Right? Sometimes the habit is to automatically say, yeah, morning was rough. Wife and I had a fight. She's mad at me and I don't know what we're going to do. How many times do people do that? But simple. Yeah, right now things aren't well. I'm not well. I'm really struggling lately. We're not vomiting, we're just acknowledging the facts. And we're leaving it to the other person. If they want to probe deeper, they can. And you are free to share what you are comfortable sharing. And there's no obligation to tell them every little detail, right? There are definitely ways. Sharon, it's funny you say that because I learned this a long time ago and I used it for years and I don't use it much anymore, but it's still, there was a little humor in it. It's like, hey, I woke up and my name wasn't in the obituaries this morning, so it's not a bad day. Or I would say it's a good day, or I woke up on this side of the earth instead of the other side, right? I think a lot of it depends on what is your, are you laughing about it? Like, haha, yeah, I woke up on this side of the dirt. My name's not in the obituaries today. Yeah, I learned that too, and I've used it in the past. But I've also learned to evaluate when I respond. One, am I being honest with myself and with others? Two, as you said, I don't want to bypass and I don't want to bleh on them. So I've learned to use true, but that's on them, right? If someone's asking just because they're nosy, not because they actually care, I think usually you can sense. Like if you're tuning into your inner world and someone asks for more details, you can get a sense that they're not asking out of genuine care or curiosity. Right? Listen to your body, listen to your intuition. Yeah. The empath narcissist. Don't let them win. You can share, but keep it guarded. Right? And share tidbits. Share test. Like I learned this in 12 step. We taught this and learned this. Share a little, let it play out. Then you will start to see, okay, this person actually cares, and this person is just looking for the juicy dirt to use against me or against others. So just metered, right? Metered release. And only share what you feel comfortable with and recalibrate, right? You don't have to share all the details. I've been there where it's like, bleh, I just tell everything. And I've learned to meter it down. Yeah, things aren't going so good. Oh, what's going on? Well, there's been some conflict at home. And like I said, feeling the sense, like, is this person actually safe? Do they actually care, or are they just digging for dirt? If they're digging for dirt, go find their own hole. I'm not going to be the hole. So I've announced it before. If this spoke to you, if this awoke something in you, this is a gentle invitation. If you're ready to make a shift, to stop depleting yourself and actually rebuild your self leadership, your external leadership from your identity instead of performance and adrenaline, I do have the beta real mastery program intensive. 6 weeks, we do the work to get down deep, shift your identity, align your nervous system, and learn real leadership from the inside out. If you're interested, you can DM me the word leader and I'll share the details. Otherwise, if there's anybody who would like to join me on stage, share their thoughts, comments, questions. Exactly, Christy. It is leading by example, right? Model to the world, modeling excellence, as Sharon said it, right? Show others what we expect, what we will accept, and let it play out. Doesn't mean, we boundaries. We still exercise the boundaries to protect our energy, our space. One might even say our sanity, right? Manage internal. The external will take care of itself. Right? I was at the AI summit this last week, the previous week, and it was really interesting. There was a lot of great talks about ways that people are using AI for very positive things, how businesses could use it to manage data. There was a demonstration of agents and voice agents that could actually call and do customer service for business owners. I made some great connections with people, met some new people, and but it made me realize something that, you know, AI is here. I think any of us will admit that, right? It's not going away. It's just going to get more and more and more and more. But the question is our identity ready for this? Right? If I'm a business owner or an employee and I'm using AI to enhance my productivity, is my identity ready for the shift? Is it, because if we don't fix the foundation first, it doesn't matter what we build on top of it, right? Very true, Christy. Real friends, real connections do want to know, right? Sometimes this lag, the delay is frustrating. So at the AI Summit, there were a lot of great speakers. There was a lot of great presentations. But what I saw is good questions, Sharon, and I will get to that. Is a lot of leaders, they're not ready for the future they say they want, right? Related to AI, etc. Because the conversations I had separately, I heard a quiet whisper, right? Because people were trying to implement AI with old identities. And, AI is not the disruptor. I would say identity is your identity, my identity. And this is exactly what my work's all about, is like, let's get the foundation solid so that whether you add AI or don't add AI, whether you take a promotion or don't take a promotion, whether you start a business or you don't start a business, you've got the firm footing to build from, whatever it is you decide to build. Right? AI is going to transform the world. It's really transforming Latin America because the investment in the US and Europe and et cetera is massive. And it's like 1% in Latin America. All right, Sharon's question. Difference between an adrenaline junkie, the ones that go out and chase a bungee jump or zip line or skydiving or any of that, or those who are getting the hit from scrolling TikTok or Instagram reels or whatever, or sharing something and watching the like count. I think basically many times it is the same thing. It's a nervous system, an inner soul crying out for attention, a thrill, to feel alive, right? To feel good about your life, like your life somehow matters. And as I was saying, that's outside. Whether it's a bungee jump, the scroll stopping, that amazing video that made you laugh, they all chemically inside of us and you give us the same reaction. But you have to ask yourself, why? What am I trying to get? Am I just enjoying this because I have everything I need internally? Like, I love myself, I value myself. And yeah, laughing at some funny cat videos, that's fun. Laughter feels good. It's a positive thing. Or, seeing responses or reactions to our posts. It's kind of the way the systems were built. The thrill. But what is the meaning of the thrill? Right? What does it mean to you? Why are you seeking the thrill? And use that awareness to determine, like, is this really what I want? If you go do that thing repeatedly, maybe, is it really giving you what you want? Right? If I asked you, okay, so you went and did bungee jumping, you got the thrill, and what did that give you? What feeling did that give you? And we go deeper. And what did that give you? And what did that give you? And what did that give you? And we get to, what is the top level goal that you're trying to get to? It might be something like, I just want to know I matter, that I'm alive, that I can feel. It might be, recognition, significance, feeling connected, feeling, meeting a need for uncertainty. I need some variety. I need things to shake up, right? Get out of this boring old life. And I would say readiness, there's an app for that. And I actually saw this, I've seen this online. There's an AI for that. It's a repeat, right? History goes through cycles. We go through loops. I look at some of the fashion that's coming out today is the fashion that came out when I was young, when I was 12 years old. So we go through these loops. But what I'm saying is, if we're still trying to have an app for that or an AI for that, and we're not looking at who we think we are and why we need this AI for that or that app for that, then we're not ready. But there it is, the awareness. Okay, I'm not ready for this. So now what do I do? What can I do to be ready? How can I build the foundation that will support that and not lead me down a path of burnout and exhaustion and disconnection from myself, from others? Because that's what gets us into the hot water, right? We disconnect. And I've seen people go both ways. They want to defy death because of, a death. I celebrate every day because my dad died at the same age I am right now. So every day I'm like, I'm doing good. I'm still alive. That's a win. But at the same time, it's a win because I get to teach my son. I get to watch him learn and grow and develop and be amazed by the things he says and does. To spend more time with my wife, to meet new people. Yeah, Sharon. Basically, everybody's jumping on the bandwagon like, hey, they're using AI for this. We should use it. But is are you ready? Is your company ready? Is the company culture ready for that level of AI? Because maybe you're not. I always feel lonely up here because nobody comes and talks. But I appreciate the comments and the questions. Any other questions? Right? But it's all about examining inside, leading ourselves, right? Working through our own healing, releasing the things that we shouldn't be holding on to, including old identities that were survival identities that helped us get to where we are today. But if we want to go to the next level, we're going to have to leave them behind and shed into our new identity. Right? Because all the best tools, all the best ideas are lipstick on a pig if we don't deal with the internal world. Ready versus good fit, or doing it, keeping up with the Joneses. Right? Are we doing it just because everybody else is doing it, or are we doing it because it actually aligns? It reminds me of a story that I read in one of my textbooks in university. And it was talking about a mega church in Southern California. And they'd seen a lot of growth and positive impact in the world. And a preacher from a small town in the middle of the US, he comes to a conference. And when he enters the property, he is taken aback because in the parking lot, they've got these attendants monitoring everything going on in the parking. And if they see that you're a first-time visitor, they escorted you to parking right up front. Right? It's like handicapped parking, different accommodating parking, close, close, close. And then the next tier back was first timers, kind of a VIP thing. So this preacher's like, wow, this is amazing. Look, so this church has so much success, and they have parking system and parking attendants and VIP first time parking. I need to implement this in my church. So he goes back to his home and tries to implement this parking strategy for his little small town church that has 10 cars that show up on Sunday, maybe 50. It just doesn't work because he tried to copy the exact strategy of the big place. That strategy worked for them. I'll copy the strategy and see if it works for me. But he missed the point. What was the goal? What was the achievement that they did by having this parking system? That new guests felt welcome. They felt at home. So you modify it for your context, right? If someone's using an AI tool for this, what are they achieving by it? Are they being more productive? Are they adding efficiency or financial benefit? So you don't have to jump on the whole bandwagon. What are the things you could do in your situation to be more efficient, to be more time savvy, to be more productive, to get the goals that you want to get, and modify it for your own context? Because just because it worked for him doesn't mean it works for you. Just because she did it and saw success doesn't always mean you can do it. Thank you, everyone, for your time, because I do respect that time is the one resource that doesn't renew, right? If you need more money, you need more health, more almost anything, right? We eat food, it grows again, and we can eat it again. Most resources in this planet renew regularly. Time does not, right? Your time is your most valuable resource. So I respect and I'm grateful that you've given your time to be here, to share, to ask questions. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
In the shadow of a mirror, where the past holds tight, he walks in with fire, igniting the night. A truth seeker's vision, he shines through the black. With every step forward, he won't look back, telling tales of struggle. The masks we wear, we're bound by the labels, lost in the snare. Time to break free.